Unified Magic Part 9, Scene 1.
So today we're going to look at the whole Illuminati system and how it's been designed to feed everyone in the system into the meat blender. Now we've got the Kabbalistic tree, there's the upper one, and the lower one, which is Tripothic, and the long con of the few who've been feeding on all of the Rosicrucians, all of the OTO, all of the Freemasons, all of the New Age people, is to get them to do magic rituals, but magic rituals which are booby-trapped, and feed them into a cosmic meat grinder to produce lovely sausages for a good German like myself who loves bratwurst, nice fried sausage. Now the whole core of this, as we've explained, is that every magic book, I had St. Nicholas go to the three main magic bookstores in London and look through their books and see what sort of Kabbalistic tree are in the books. Why are we reiterating? Well, because the situation is far, far worse than you ever imagined. And I'm just going to explain to you the long con of the tiny group of, what would you call them? The ascended master Illuminatis like myself, who have been feeding off you. I, of course, have gone rogue, so I'm just revealing to the public how damned they are from doing every New Age ritual, every secret occult ritual, all of the super rich who've gone to Eyes Wide Shut parties. That's the film with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, which is based upon the true orgies that are all around the West. And the director was killed, 41 days later, Kubrick. Yeah. All of them use in Western magic something called the Kabbalistic tree. Here's our Kabbalistic tree. Every book on magic you'll see in the world will have this Kabbalistic tree. And as you see, Binar, which is the head of the left pillar, Gabora, and Hod, that's the left female pillar, is on the right. You see, right? Yeah, right. For all of you magi and superhuman beings and ascended masters and all the rest, you've all been using a tree where the left pillar is on the right. I know you find it difficult to distinguish between left and right, but you see how the system has been booby-trapped from the beginning, because all Western magic is based upon, modern Western magic is based upon the Kabbalistic tree. And the right pillar, which is Chokmah, here they say Hokmah, Chesed, here they say Hesed, and Netzer, there's a Z there in the proper books, is the right pillar. But look here, this is called the left. This is left for all of you so-called magi, ascended masters, Illuminati, all the rest of you who've been going to your secret rituals, all you New Age people, 10% of the population of California who are all into magic, all of the A-listers, Katy Perry, Ariana Grande, Beyonce, Madonna, just goes on and on. You can't distinguish between left and right. This, let's explain to you. This is left, this is right. Now, if you look at this, the left pillar is on the right. The right pillar is on the left. Oh dear, what does that mean? It means all of you have been working on, now it fits, see? We've got left pillar, which is turned round. So how do we turn the right into the left? Simply turn around. Bing. So all of you have been tricked into doing any meditation on the Kabbalistic tree, any occult ritual, any strutting around in a Illuminati residence to the sex magic according to your Kabbalistic tree. You've all been tricked into doing rituals on the reverse side of the Kabbalistic tree. Now you'll all go to me, oh, this doesn't matter because there's nothing on the reverse side of the Kabbalistic tree. Unfortunately for you, there is. These are called the tunnels of Set with the spiders, and they have their own set of demons called the Goetia. Crowley called Goetia howling, and the howlers howl to their Jewish god and keep the Jewish god alive by howling, if you look in the rabbi's secret books. And obviously they need to feed on something to supply the energy then to the Jewish god called the Elohim. What do they feed on? They feed on all of the good people, or the people with energy want to do black magic. How? By feeding them into the meat grinder. How do they feed them into the meat grinder? They do this by getting them to willingly give themselves into the meat grinder. And as we've seen, all of you, when you do your magic or New Age rituals, are all working on the back side of the Kabbalistic tree. Now, of course, the only one who's documented and talked about the backside of the Kabbalistic tree in detail is the apprentice of Aleister Crowley, called Kenneth Grant, who led Typhonian magic. We'll explain about Typhon, the mother of Set, in later videos, who of course in his books has the Kabbalistic tree back to front. Isn't this good? So of course he's dead because he was doing his magic not knowing it was booby-trapped. So you can see how much fun it is for the rabbis in Israel. Here we go to the proper Kabbalistic tree. This is by A.E. Waite, as we've explained, who was the, I think, the head of the Grand Lodge of the Golden Dawn in the end of the 19th century. Here we show you the proper tree, which I've always used. That's why I'm so powerful and have total control of magic and call myself the Psi Lord. Here we've got male, which is Chukma. Right pillar's male. Where is it on this diagram? Here, look. Right, this is called right.
Your right
Duh.
side.
Left, this is Binah, the top of it. This is the left pillar. Where is it? This is called left for all of you Magi, Illuminati, Rosicrucians, New Agers, and all the rest. So, when I do magic, I work on the front of the Kabbalistic tree, which has all the good stuff. Isn't that wonderful? Now, of course, in Kabbalah, the front of the tree are forces. So each of these are a force. And there's an upper tree and a lower tree. This is the tree of shells. Now, if you look on this tree, which we've got from the internet, we'll see that we've got Kether up the top. We've got 2, which is Chokmah here, so it's reversed. And this one is Binah, so we've got the wrong Kabbalistic tree. So every time you do magic, you do a, and remember, what the rabbis have done is to imprint on C-space, which we talked about in the scientific foundation videos to explain that I've turned magic into a science, is that C-space, which is psi-space, and is linked up with imaginary numbers, I, has had imprinted upon it a scaffolding of the Kabbalistic tree to allow the rabbis to use C-space for psi. I've simply simplified it. Why do you need the Kabbalistic tree? Demolish it, and you then got a nice open space. So you can think of myself as the developer who's come along, demolished the old buildings, and then builds whatever he wants on the demolished buildings. But all of the Magi and New Agers and Save the World people have all been using the rabbi's structure in C-space, but reversed. Which means when they do a ritual for good, which always is the right pillar, because they use the wrong Kabbalistic tree, it's reversed to evil. So you do a ceremonial magic for love, luck, money, health, and it's reversed to its negative confirmation. That's why Kenneth Grant, who was Aleister Crowley's apprentice and successor and led Typhonian magic, is dead. With all his massive knowledge, dead and gone. And why, of course, the Crown's magicians, who've been desperately trying to stop the rogue Illuminati, Tony Stark Refat, from doing anything using all of this occult warfare, have been annihilated because only the few rabbis in Israel realize that every one of the Goyim and the outer elect, which is the Jews outside of the inner elect, which is talked about here, have been fed as Goyim cattle into the cosmic mincing machine. I know you might find this unpleasant. I find it quite fun, because of course it means that everyone on the planet who's doing magic along the Kabbalistic tradition has been feeding me, because I'm top of the tree, the Ipsissimus in Keter. And of course, worse than that, I'm the Ipsissimus black brother, because the backside of this tree has the tunnels of Set, which of course, it's obvious, for every force there's a opposite force. Otherwise they'd be zooming into you. This Kabbalistic tree wouldn't be stable unless there was an opposite force on the backside. And the opposite force, of course, and the tension of the power causes the tunnels. So you can think pushing forward, and all of this pulls to produce the tunnels. And if you don't think the tunnels of Set are known to the inner elect rabbis, and of course the ultimate Ipsissimus Illuminati Tony Stark Refat, then you haven't watched something called, it's a very secret occult set of films called The Matrix. Have you ever been allowed to watch the Matrix films? So of course it's great for us to take the piss out of you and get you to watch the tunnels of Set. So if you look in the Matrix films, underneath the surface, which is the top Kabbalistic tree, are the tunnels of Set, which the machines roam through. Loads of tunnels, aren't they? And what attacks them in the tunnels of Set in the Matrix films? What attacks them?
Oh, those things with all the long
spiders. Isn't it great? So you're actually seeing the true situation. The spiders in the tunnels of Set, which devour you, and of course feed the Goisha, the tunnels of Set demons that howl and feed the Elohim. Whole system. So of course it doesn't matter about the local population, because they're just drones. But the people who've got evolved and have got higher energy, either darker energy or lighter energy, it's still high energy level, are sucked into the full processing system, because they are the high value food. So if you want fillet steak, you get the fillet steak to become a new ager like you two, save the world, 10 years worth. Or a black magician doing all their black rituals for the crown, Either way, they're fed into the meat grinder. It's brilliant. So all of you Freemasons, Rosicrucians and OTO and all your other secret groups are all fed into the meat grinder of the tunnels of Set and the spiders, which devour you. And the only place you can even read about the spiders is in Kenneth Grant's books. It's wonderful. And of course the Matrix film imprints in C space and H space the reality of the tunnels of Set. And Zion, which has the humans, the normal drone humans, Zion. So Zion is the Klipothic realm, where the humans are kept in hell. All in the Matrix film. Isn't it wonderful? I love this. You can see how good it is to gloat if you've got my sadistic Schadenfreude. Now, of course, if you've ever used the Kabbalistic tree or Kabbalism in any way, or been a New Ager using any of the booby-trapped Kabbalistic system, you have been completely chopped to pieces, possessed by the Goetia and the spiders, and your energy stripped away from you. So we do a special rescue kit which has the orb, a special rose quartz orb. Why rose quartz? Because rose quartz is linked up with Gabora, the fifth Sephiroth of evil destruction, and white, which is Keter. So we have the exchange, sublimation in the pink quartz orb. So red is for evil destruction, which, let's use the wrong Kabbalistic tree, but here they've got it there, it should be there. That's Gabora, and Keter's white, that's red. So rose quartz orb is the one where all the rituals are done to correct what's done to you, and all the energy given to, because it's a zero-sum game, all the energy given to the Elohim has been put in the orb. And then you've got a white and black crystal, which gives you the pentagram and hexagram of control, all for people who've used and been into Kabbalism of any sort, which means all of the Madonna crowd, all of the A-listers in Hollywood, all of the Illuminati, all of the Freemasons, all of the so-called magicians, magi, all of them have been fully processed. So we have a rescue kit for $10,000. Take it or leave it, doesn't matter. But there's no point, if you have ever been into the Kabbalah, to start doing anything, because you are simply trapped in the tunnels of Set, being eaten by spiders and fed to the Goetia. Now, what are the tunnels of Set? Well, if you look at the Kabbalistic tree, you've got Keter there. So behind Keter, you've got the other side, which is a big space. And if you saw in the Matrix films, tunnels between big spaces under the surface. These are the tunnels of Set. Here we've got Binah. Here we've got Chokmah. And as you can see, the Illuminati are going to be very pleased that I'm explaining to the whole world that the whole system's rigged for the super beings like myself and the rabbis in Israel to process the whole human race. So as you can see, fun is to be had when they watch the video. And between them, of course, we've got the tunnels. Yeah, tunnels. And I'll go into great detail about the tunnels of Set, which are super secret, not known to almost anyone. I got St. Nicholas going around the occult bookshops trying to get me books on the tunnels of Set. And there's nothing about the spiders, and only Kenneth Grant talks about the tunnels of Set. So we'll be going through all these tunnels, explaining what they do and their purpose. Did you know about the tunnels of Set's celestial paladin?
I did, but only in the last few months I learned about that.
So between them,
Not before.
yeah, you got more tunnels. Underneath, there we are.
I always knew about the spiders, but not where they came from.
They were
Yeah.
Stranger Things, weren't they?
A lot of people know about the spiders, don't understand them.
Well, you know where they
Well,
come
they do
from.
now.
The backside of the Kabbalistic tree. That's where
Yeah.
they live.
Yeah.
Yum yum. Goyim scum. Yummy yummy. And as you know, spiders paralyse, and the web they create, of course, is the Optonian web, which we use in the wand, which grimoires call the blasting rod and controls demons. As we see when we go into grimoire magic, the hazel wand is the blasting rod, which is the ultimate recourse against demons and the Goetia. So one can see that this hazel wand, charged by the Supreme Illuminati, is the ultimate weapon against demons and Goetia. And the spiders, of course, use the Optonian grid as well, because remember, they're dark energy matter and strange energy matter beings. Strange energy matter this side, dark energy matter that side. I minus I. I minus I. It's all in the sea. And the death, to make it 100%, in the middle. You're beginning to understand. I'm turning magic, well, I've turned magic into a science. That's because I'm a super genius. It's nice being a super genius. So underneath we've got Tifereth. There we are. So let's name them for you, so you can get it imprinted upon you. Here's, oh, I'm using the wrong, there we are. Kabbalah. This one is Chesed. This is Tifereth. Now remember, this doesn't exist in sea space. This has been put there by the rabbis and the beings before them as a scaffolding, a structure to control sea space and H space and the death force. And of course, time-like space for the souls. Which, as you can see, the souls are dragged into the Klipothic realm of hell. Zion! It's brilliant. I love the system. You can see they're going to be very pleased me explaining to you Goyim the intricacies of our system. They might even give me a knighthood. Continuing. Here we've got, oh yeah, Hod. Here we've got Netza. Here we've got Yesod. And here we've got Malkuth. And according to Kabbalah, the physical realm is Malkuth. And the tunnels between them, I'll just draw them as single lines now, but they are tunnels. Now let's draw them as tunnels. Let's put some extra effort into this video. Yeah, tunnels connecting. And yeah, we've got tunnel there, tunnel there, there, cross, tunnel there, tunnel there. Ooh, tunnel. I think we've got most of them. And each one of these pathways, there are 22, correspond to a tarot card. We go over that when we go over the tarot section. But as you can see, if they correspond to a tarot card, that means there are the shadow tarot. So if there are tarot energies, entities associated with the upper tree, there are shadow tarot behind the tree. living in the tunnels of Set. So we'll explain to you the Shadow Tower entities. All of this stuff's very difficult to find, if not impossible. That's why I'm releasing it to the public, to seriously piss off the Illuminati to the point of terminal breakdown. It's good. You've got to have a hobby. Now, one can see that the backside of the tree, you need to get there. How do the lucky majority get into the tunnels to be fed to the spiders, which feed the Goetia, who howling to power Elohim, the so-called Judaic god? Well, remember from Kabbalah, we've got specific properties of things, and hearing is Val, the male principle, which sits in Tifereth and is to do with hearing. So the howling is feeding the male principle to the female, call it the super spider, Elohim. So you think of Shelob would be a good representation of the Elohim, with all its little spiders in the tunnels. And you might say, oh, it can't exist. Why not? Can't there be entities in C space and H space that feed off real number entities? And wouldn't they want male principle? Because the male principle gives you all the good stuff. The female principle gives you all the bad stuff. So why would they want to go to the female principle site, blast laser beams at the Elohim? No, the laser beams are blasted at the intrepid Zion freedom fighters in the tunnels of Set. If you don't believe that, just watch something called the Matrix films. What do these spiders blast?
Lasers.
Yeah, which is associated with Hay, sight. Blasting the evil left pillar energy into the ships. And what happens to our Val, our male principle, who is trying to save the denizens of hell?
Loses his sight.
Loses his sight, exactly. He gets blasted in the eyes by Hay. And eyes, of course, summon intent. So once you lose your eyes, you lose the power of intent. And the soul is composed of light, as we explained in the previous scientific foundation of magic. So you see why I did the boring science stuff first, because it's the underlying foundation of magic, and it's impossible to understand magic unless you rationalize it and turn it into a science.
And why they call the sight the windows to the soul.
Yeah. Because the soul is composed of the assemblage point, which we talked about, which is based on the complex number version of the Higgs boson. Bosons are forms of light, and the biophysical body is formed from the fifth dimension of light. So the soul is made from light, and the intent is within that light soul. So when you see, so eyes, sight, hay, all to do with the soul. And the physical body, the other body, or the lucid viewing body, is made from the Higgs particle, which of course we know with particles we have longitudinal propagation, scalar, which is the basis of sound and hearing. So one can see it's all built into the system. This is simply something that's been superimposed over C space, H space, and the death force, and time-like space, to lock you into the prison. So rather than studying the Kabbalah to get out of the prison. The people who are trying to escape the prison, the people with high energy or people who aren't satisfied with the system, are simply tricked into being dumped into the tunnels of Set and fed to the spiders and the Goetia. So we'll go through all the Goetia as well. You'll like them. You knew about the Goetia, didn't you?
I did actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
course
I
I
told
did.
you. Every question answered by Celestial Paladin. Now, we talked about summoning archdemons and demons. Now I've got a download of the book with all the angels and the demons, and when you download it, the one we talked about in the last video, there are hundreds and hundreds there. They all should be summoned into your triangle of art, capturing the power with the wand, and their 5-dimensional power with the orb. This is a Binar orb, so you see why I've got a Binar orb to capture all the bad stuff, feed it into the meat grinder. So we don't have a yellow orb, which is Chokmah, we have a Binar orb. And the ones supplied to you are rose quartz orbs, which is Gabora red and Keter white. So they automatically sublime whatever you dump into them from the evil Gabora, which is the nasty Sephiroth, into Keter white. So you've got a sublime good engine stuck in your orbs. Now, why do we summon demons? That seems bad, but remember in the Abramelian ritual, the Goetia have to be summoned to give you the Holy Guardian Angel, which was the ultimate aim of Aleister Crowley. Why? Well, one can see that if you're trapped in the tunnels of Set, then you need to feed the Goetia into whatever in order to use their energy to escape. And the demons, of course, delete from the physical world, so you can use them for occult warfare to delete nasty things, and they add, strangely enough, to the soul. So the more demons you conjure, the more archdemons you conjure, the bigger and more powerful your soul becomes. So you see why I am concentrating on black magic with my rituals, and to balance it up, we've got Celestial Paladin and Angelic Annie and St. Nicholas, who teach the masses white magic to save the world and do things. Now, as you get more and more energy, we get the phases of the soul. You've heard about the phases of the soul. There we are. So the more energy you get in your orb, the higher your soul becomes. And there are 5 parts. Why? Because of the Fibonacci series, which molds awareness. And the 5 moves your soul into the 5 states, which is hyper-infinite and totally stable. We explained hyper-infinity in the scientific basis. So you can see why we do the science basis, because we can simply just talk about the magic without going into endless science bits, all done in the previous videos, which seem quite difficult. But now you can see all of this technology has been applied by magicians to you and themselves. So first of all, we start with when we summon demons and start adding to our souls and Goetia, etc. And as you see, if you're trapped in the tunnels of Set, you have to conjure up the Goetia that are feeding off you, and you have to deal with the spiders, which Kenneth Grant talks about, in order to evolve, because you're fucked, if you pardon my French. Now, how do we get into the tunnels of Set? We do that via Death's Door, which is vow knowledge Dath, which is the 11th Sephiroth, which moves. Let's stick it there for the time being. So here we got our cross of Christ. This is Dath, or death. The death force we talked about, which makes everything totally real, which can move up and down, and you can actually move Dath up to Keter and down to Tiferet and Yesod and Malkuth, and you can move Death all the way down, but that's only known to the supreme Illuminati like myself. But this is the doorway into the backside of the Tree of Life. So in order to enter the tunnels of Set on the backside of the Tree of Life, which you're doing while you are meditating and doing magic and going to Freemasonic temples and Illuminati temples and Rosicrucian temples and OTO temples, we have to have the death door opening for you. So of course we need Illuminati who are tricked into sacrifice and eating babies and all the other things that go on with Illuminati to supply the death force to the rest of the Goyim fed into the meat grinder. And remember, Goyim are cattle, and the outer elect, those are Jews, are fed in as well. So if you're a Hollywood Jew who goes to his Kabbalistic secret rituals, you'll have used the wrong Kabbalistic tree as well. So don't think it's racist. Goyim means people who are fed into the meat grinder, cattle, and it covers all of them. It's only the inner elect who know the truth and are the upline for all the power, because it's a zero-sum game. So Dath is the gateway death, and they did a huge ritual to supply the death force to every single New Ager, Rosicrucian, Illuminati, OTOite, anyone who's into Kabbalah. And when was it done? Well, it was done via C-space and H-space, and via, remember, look at this, the dragon. Now, the pathway into the dark, into the tunnels of Set has the dragon with 8 heads. We'll talk about that later. And the heads poke out of Dath. So there's a Typhonian, that's the mother of Set. Set rules, that's the god, the Egyptian god of death, the tunnels of Set. That's why they're called the tunnels of Set. So we need dragon and death to get into the tunnels of Set. And for all of you New Agers and Illuminati who haven't been butchering babies in basements and drinking their blood and eating them, which is what the higher ups in the Illuminati do, we needed to supply to you the mechanism of death and the dragons, so that all of you were fully processed into the backside of the tunnels of Set to be fed to the spiders that feed the Goetia. This, of course, was done by Game of Thrones with 1 billion viewers. Don't you love it? With death and dragons.
I posted the explanation you did in the videos last week. I joined it all together and I wrote it out on a Supernatural Spirit on Facebook.
Brilliant.
People can see it. People don't quite know what to...
I know, now they know.
I think I'm making it up.
Now they know.
I'm not making it up.
And as we can see, our little Daenerys Targaryen, who wants to burn the world, this is made from fire, is killed, but she's the only one that can release the dragon, because behind the bride, who lives in Malkuth, lies the other god that's a reptiloid, and is in fact the ultimate dragon. And this Typhonian dragon could be thought of as, what was the black one called? Drogon?
The dragon, yeah.
Yeah. And you'll see that's,
The big one.
there's a demon called Dagon.
Yeah.
But anyway,
His name's after
the death of Daenerys, and what was the day she was murdered on? What day was that episode come out?
Last Monday,
Yeah,
2020.
20th. Yeah, because
20th.
Madonna did the 6/6 ritual in Israel on the
Yeah.
18th.
Yeah.
20th. Why the 20th? Well, because we've got the five phases of the soul. It's May, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the Kabbalistic tree has 10 Sephiroth up, 10 Sephiroth down. So the release on the 20th links it completely in with both trees and the 5 phases of the soul.
I even wrote it up the day before that last episode came out, and at the very end I wrote that Jon Snow, being at the position of Darth, has no option but to kill Daenerys.
And of course,
everyone just ignored me the next day.
Snow is Val, the male
Yeah.
principle,
Yeah.
that is in Tifereth,
Yeah.
and treacherously kills the rightful queen, who's ascending up the Kabbalistic tree. We go that way, that way. Oh, you took one across. See? So there, then it goes up there, goes across. We're missing out some of these.
That's your 22 now. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as one can see, Dath is connected there or there, so we can move Death down, which via Val. Val's supposed to raise the bride upwards into Bina. That's his role. So the lower hay becomes the upper hay, which is the Shekinah, the Holy Spirit of Kabbalah. Think of it as the power, the force, Shekinah. That's why we had the shock and awe of the Iraq War, releasing the force for
Shekinah,
us super
shock and awe.
magicians.
Yeah.
Hence Jon Snow Val killed the bride, and by killing her, he willingly went into the wasteland of the north, which is the realm of black magicians, which is the tunnels of Set. So he did the big ritual to suck all of the people who've ever done Kabbalistic magic and watched Game of Thrones and weren't fully processed into the tunnels of Set. So it's great.
It's a lot of people.
I know, it's brilliant, isn't it? All of you New Agers who've ever done any sort of meditation along the Tree of Life have all been sucked into the tunnels of Set and have been fed on by the spiders and the Goetia. And of course the Goetia howling comes from the damned souls of what they fed on, which they torture. And the howling is not the Goetia howling, but the consumed Goyim howling. It's a wonderful process. You've got to love magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as you can see, it's simply built in C space and H space. Now, going through my process, adding to the soul, so they're all the demons in this catalogue of angels, which we gave you the reference to. I'll show you the print off from the internet another time. When the child of man is born into this world, there is appointed to him natural life, nephesh, from the side of the animals, the clean side, from the side of the holy wheels, the orphanim, a Kabbalistic order of angels assigned by some attribution to Chokmah. So the first one is called nephesh, number 1. So the whole purpose of the Supernatural Spirit Magic Kit is to give you your fully developed soul. And of course you need to process the Goetia, which is part of the Abramelin ritual, so I'll have to go through all the Goetia and all of the demons, which we'll be going through after this lot. It's all fun, isn't it? Should he deserve more, there is appointed him a rational spirit, Ruach. And as one can see, this is simply the hyper-infinite soul, 5, because remember, all awareness is moulded by the Fibonacci series, as we've explained before. The torsion field is moulded by the Fibonacci series, and 5 is the 2 types of hyper-infinity, the 1 and the 5. So a 5 soul means it's hyper-infinite, can't be consumed. So it's something that you must do if you don't want to be processed. And what happens to the Goyim who don't do Kabbalah? They simply are sucked into the middle place by the Kabbalistic rituals they watch on television, like the Matrix film, during their life. All rituals have been done to you via the media.
Covers just about everyone then.
It does, yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
From the side of the holy living creatures, Hayoth HaKodesh, the holy living creatures are the lion, which is the east, the eagle west, bull north, and man south. They're the holy living creatures. Another order of angels commonly attributed to Keter. Should he deserve even more, there is appointed to him a higher spirit, Neshama, from the side of the thrones, Aralim, the order of angels described to Binah, whence came the higher souls. Yeah. So we've got the supernal triangle, and strangely enough, as we, according to this Kabbalah, we're going from the male to the Yod to Binah, the central pillar. Yod, that's called in Kabbalah, and the symbol for Yod in magic is the hand. Hence the bone generators, which appear in all my psi and are in C space Keter, top of the tree. So bone generators, which can be left or right, because remember, you can be a left one, or sorry, a right one or a left one. Right ones give, left ones take. Left for deletion, right for addition.
See that on the walls of Egypt, when they're all standing there in lines with their hands.
Yeah,
and
Yod. Yeah. As you can see, it's simply a science. I'm just explaining for the first time to the public. It's a science. These 3 are the mother, the male servant, and the handmaid, even the daughter of the king, which is the supernal triangle, which links up with 3. Hence, of course, we have a triangle of art for 3. And 34 crystals, which is the 9, or Teth, Hebrew letter Teth, the 9th letter, which stands for serpent. So the circle of crystals corresponds to the dragon energies, which, as you see, are the means of doing all ceremonial magic, because it's based upon serpent energy, which is the love, the 2 dragons joined together, linking to the 1. So we had 3 dragons in Game of Thrones. There we go. Let's put up here somewhere. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. 3 dragons in Game of Thrones. These 2 died. One stands for death. The other one stands for anti-sublimation. That's losing all your good stuff, which happens when you go through that doorway into the tunnels of Set. So the lovers chained to the devil, one of the lovers dies, the other one loses all of their sublime good, all of their goodness, which we see in the Matrix film. One of them dies, and one of them gets totally fucked up, loses their eye, everything, totally tunnel of Setit. Neo and who's the Trinity?
Trinity.
And
And we know why she's called Trinity. Well,
Yeah.
everyone else does.
Trinity Binar, which is number 3.
Yeah.
And Neo, of course, which is the one, the chosen one, sacrificial scapegoat, Wicker Man. So, of course, one can see when watches the Matrix films, a giant ritual is being done to you.
And everyone wants to be Neo.
Yeah.
Or
Except
Zero.
me. I want to
No.
be the architect. And I am.
You are.
Wonderful. Then, should he deserve yet more, there is appointed to him an animal's soul, Nefesh, oops, in the way of Asaluth. In Kabbalah, there are 4 levels, 4 different dimensions of the Kabbalistic tree. The one of the divas, the one of angels, the one of archangels, and the God realm, which is Asaluth. So this 4th soul, animal soul, Nefesh, in the way of Asaluth, Nefesh, that is the lowest essence of the supernal portions of the soul. This is supernal triangle. Again, from the side of the daughter, Yehida, the only one. Yehida is the quintessence of the highest nature of the soul under Sur, and the same is called daughter of the king, which would be Daenerys. So what we've been doing is sacrificing this level of the soul, the Daenerys. Remember, in Kabbalah, the bride is linked with your soul. So killing soul was the male principle. Val, Jon Snow, killing his soul, which is always female, and the bride, Daenerys. And the fire, of course, stands for these 7 lower Sephiroth. This is all fire. Torsion fields, circles, stone, which is a yellow stone. It's got to be yellow stone, so you've got to have a stone of fell off Lucifer's crown. A Shethliah stone.
There it is.
Yeah, Shethliah stone. And from the Shethliah stone comes water, Bina. So if you look at Taylor Swift's video, Taylor wants to be the queen of the Illuminati. Bina, water. So if you look at a me video, there's started with delicate, where she's invisible and ends up in the rain and becomes visible again, having the power of invisibility and not be seen when she does her psychic operations. And then in the me video, lots and lots of coloured water. Rainbow stands for Shekinah. So the Shekinah that comes down when she ascends up the tower is her becoming the queen of the Illuminati. Shekinah water, and the force Shekinah is rainbow, defined by rainbow in Kabbalah. And then from there we get fire for the lower 7. So from the water comes fire. So one can see that Taylor's me video is her saying to the crown, me, I'm unique, I want to be the new queen of the Illuminati after Madonna's fall. So if you don't think, every time you observe Taylor's me video, you're powering her ascension up into Keter, and then from Keter she comes down, but she doesn't come down again to Malkuth. She comes down to Binar, where the Shekinah is, with the rainbow water. And of course, when she burrows into the heart of the guy, she's Red Gabora, which is all the Force destruction, which is in her Look What You Made Me Do. That's a whole Gabora video. If you want to know what Gabora is, just watch Taylor Swift in Look What You Made Me Do. That's pure Gabora. Female, and kicking the shit out of vermin who've offended you or your enemies and doing them in. Borrowing in the Me video, she goes through the heart, the red heart, into Val to get the male principal, the guy, who then allows her to ascend to the top, come down with the Shekinah, and then has the Broly to protect her, etc., etc., and then fades into the background because it's only her with the guy just there to serve Taylor. Brilliant. So if you think this stuff isn't going on, just watch Taylor Swift videos. I don't know who she learnt it from. Anyway, continuing. If he still deserves more, or she deserves more, there is appointed to him the rational spirit Ruah of Asaluth from the side of the central pillar, that is benignity, the middle pillar of the Sephirotic tree. Let's spell it. Oops, is it? Ruah. And he is called the Son of the Holy Blessed One, whence is written, Ye are the children of the Lord your God, and if he deserve even more, there is appointed to him a higher spirit, Neshama, from the side of Abba, the supernal father to Chokmah in the Azaluthic world, and of the supernal mother Amar, attributed to Binah. And he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, literally souls of life. What is life? It is Yah, the divine name attributed to Kether by another Zoharic text, which is Yod. And in it is Tetragrammaton, Yod Hey Vau Hey, perfected. That's the name of God. So the name of God down, Yod of the Elohim is Yod Hey Vau Hey here, and you just reverse it to be Hey Vau Hey Yod down the bottom. So the Elohim are schizophrenic, totally they're good up here and evil down the bottom. But if he deserves still more, there is appointed to him Yod Hey Vau Hey, Hey Vau Hey Yod. So you've got both the God up the top and the God down the bottom. And then he is said to be in the likeness of the Lord, whence it is said, and have them. So you have total control with your soul over the top, and total control over all the demons down the bottom. Why? Because unless you control the demons and evil, you don't have total control, because Chokmah is basically up the top. This pillar is basically down the bottom. So unless you control hell space and sea space, good and evil, and of course death, you don't have control over anything. Because remember, all reality is controlled not from the physical world, but from sea space and H space that control the manifestation of physical reality, which we explained. And once you've done that, you're in the likeness of the Lord, whence it is said, and have dominion over the fish of the sea. Fish in Kabbalah are the demons, so you have total control over demons. You are Lord of the demons, Lord of light from Hindu Vedas. The Lord of light controls all demons, and that is, he shall rule over all the heavens and over all the Orphanim and Seraphim. That's the angels, over all the hosts and powers above and below. When therefore the child of man deserves the nefesh from the side of the daughter Yehida, this is to say, she shall not go out as the men servants do, meaning probably that he shall serve God in his house forever. She shall not, that's the soul, shall not go out as men servants do. and get screwed in the tunnels of Set. So one can see doing the supernatural spirit magic school is evolving your soul from the Nefesh to the Ruach, giving you a 5 soul, which is hyper infinite and therefore immortal. But if you have a lesser soul, a Nefesh, that's hyper infinite. But that's the hyper infinite soul that can suffer for all eternity and be processed. While the 5 soul has control over evil, because 5 is the pentagram, pentacle, pentagon, which of course cannot. So all of the drones in the world have the Nefesh soul, which is hyper infinite because it's a 1. But all of the supreme Psi masters, like myself, have a Ruach soul, which is 5. That's why we are in complete control of evil as well. And combined, 1 and 5 makes the 6 of the male principle, which manifests the physical world, as we explained. The 6 is the number of the Higgs field that makes everything real. And as one can see, Daenerys dying with the dragon, which took her body away into the tunnels of Set. Because there are 8 dragons there, and one of them pokes through. So the only way into the tunnels of Set is via the Death Force and dragons. And dragons, of course, as one can see, that's a dragon. So you need love for Game of Thrones, which then, of course, is destroyed by the shitty 6 episodes, Vow. All the goodness taken out of Game of Thrones. And each one of these are dragons, dragon energy. So we've got the dragon energy, we've got the death, all done with you watching, and all you need to do then is become a Kabbalist and have done a Kabbalistic meditation, which is all of the Hollywood lot, to be fed into the tunnels of Set. So as you can see, the 20th of May was a gigantic ritual on an epic scale to feed you into the tunnels of Set, to be processed for the true, or what would you call them? The true Illuminati, the true illuminated. And remember, 5, light is a 5 vector, so then you get the totally developed light body. So one can think the dimensionality of your soul goes up. Now, of course, being the Psi Lord, the rogue, a true Illuminati, who is fighting bravely to usurp these evil rabbi Illuminati who want to feed you into the tunnels of Set and the spiders, we of course had to ruin the system and take it over and control it, and of course consign the rabbis in Israel to the Goisha, the spiders, and of course, since they are the Elohim, they're simply the avatars of the Elohim, destroy the system. Because when you feed Yaldabaoth, that's the Elohim above and below, double-headed God, Thormiel, remember, the chief archdemon is double-headed, to the God itself, you get the serpent consuming its own tail, infinite torture for the Elohim, and the end of the cycle, the end of the Elohim, the complete control over Illuminism under new management, the Psi Lord. So we'll explain how this was done just before the 20th of the 5th, on the 18th of the 5th, 666, by one of my handmaidens, Madonna.